from annoyance to acceptance. Now, I am fully aware that some of you who are watching right now are well beyond annoyance. There's things going on that are just unbelievable for some of you. And our hearts and our strength is with you as you go through the toughest parts of what's going on. And because of you, most of us are dealing with a lesser quality of difficulty, challenge. We can call it annoyance. So what we're going to talk about tonight is how we can go from annoyance, which is, the rage and the anger that some people can feel, like 100%. Annoyance is like, you're 75% there, back to acceptance. But we're going to talk about that little movement from annoyance with these every little day troubles and problems that get in our way to being able to accept them, which is where we all want to be if we want to make any changes or adjustments in our lives. So Kevin and Lori will share with me in a dialogue about this tonight. And we hope that we say something that inspires you, encourages you, perhaps even liberates you from the habitual reactivity that we can all develop. So yeah, let's take it away. Lori, ladies first, you can begin.
Yeah. So I know for me, given the tired feeling that I'm experiencing, and we were talking about that before, I think it's just the heat. Today for most people, at least in the East, it's a hot day, and I think that seems to add a little extra heat to the temper. Mm-hmm. But so. And I know there's so much going on. Even myself today was a very, very busy day. And I was, of course, having this talk in the back of my mind as I'm moving through. And it was a fast moving day for me where I had, getting up with the kids and recovering from a very, very busy day yesterday. And then having to run off to a dentist appointment and then, a few errands, while all in my mind, I'm thinking about what annoyance means. And throughout the course, I could see different opportunities where people might be experiencing annoyance. And I could start to feel it myself, too, especially things were very, very hot. My son and I actually traveled to the dentist together, and he offered to drive. And his car, I didn't know until we were about halfway there because he had his little convertible top down. I said, would you put the top up? And the reason he didn't want to was because his air conditioning wasn't working. And what's it pushing today? It's got to be pushing. It's over 90. I don't know. I didn't look at the temperature, but I could feel myself saying, "Oh no, that means now we're going to be sweating." I could feel myself getting back into this kind of not centered, not a chance to be with my son is always a great opportunity, and I wanted to be at my best for that. I really wanted to enjoy that, and I was thinking as we were. Driving through, the traffic was very, very heavy. I could see other people with their heads down. Some people in the cars with their masks are on. Some people don't have their masks. And again, to make this long story short, as we're moving through the course of the day, I'm watching people in all of these different states. It's a big adventure even to go to the grocery store these days. And we can become annoyed with things being other than what we're personally expecting. And I think really that's what annoyance is something that gets in the way of my expectation about how things are supposed to go.
So many things have a feeling of impending, I've avoided going, I've been sort of scrounging around, putting things together because I've avoided going grocery shopping because of all the protracted paraphernalia, all the procedures and all of that. So everything begins to take on a bit of a heavier mantle. Mm-hmm. For me, what that has done, I believe, is there's kind of a bit of a low level lack of meeting expectations because our world is set up. Our world is set up for our expectations to not be met. Every day we wake up and we've got these ideas and plans. We're going to do that. You're going to fit in grocery shopping, the dentist. But the world has another idea. So the world is sort of coming at us. We're coming at the world, and what happens in the middle is
the unexpected things that are annoying,
Right.
things that we can't control. And Kevin disappears.
Now, why should anyone be upset by that? But these are just states of being.
Perfect timing.
Just states of being. And they're indicators, okay, what's going on? It's not the squirrel.
Mm-hmm.
It's me. What can I do in my environment? Should I turn on the air conditioning? Should I get a fan? Or do I just sort of sit here and sink lower and lower and get some sort of like weird satisfaction out of this?
Mm-hmm.
Sal?
Yes. Well, I mean, it's, I too have been thinking about annoyance ever since we came up with this title, and noticing the little things that would kind of annoy me as I'd go through the week. And fortunately, there's been not too many things that have annoyed me, because when I think back to many years ago, man, everything annoyed me. Everything annoyed me. I was just annoyed. And I didn't want to engage. I didn't want to connect. I didn't want to do anything. What's the use? And blah, 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 blah. And I think really what made a big difference for me in my life was beginning to either personally or vicariously experience people going through situations that were far worse than anything that I've ever had to go through. And by comparison or juxtaposition, I would begin to realize, this is not really such a big deal. Back to when I'd be a kid with a big pimple on my nose, to, as I got older and would really sort of be disappointed. I had an expectation. I was anticipating something to go in a certain way. Now, certainly we cannot let go of every anticipation or every plan, but the key is in holding it loosely. And as when Kevin froze up before, being able to say, okay, rather than being angry at this, annoyed by this, upset by this, black and white, oh my God, this is ruined now, to go in holding everything loosely of, in this moment, this thing has occurred. What can I do to respond? And not knowing much about technology, I didn't even realize other people might be seeing him frozen. I thought it was just me. And Lori, more adept at IT than I am, realized, okay, I better jump in, and just jumped in. I was telling Kevin earlier today that my oldest daughter and her husband and my granddaughter are living with us. And sometimes when I'm going to where my granddaughter is, as I'm walking there, I realize I have no idea what will be going on when I walk into that room. If she's going to jump up, Grandpa, arms open wide, or she's going to look over to me and say, hi, Grandpa, and that's the end of it. I have no idea whether she's sleepy, getting ready to take a nap, or wired and energized at 3.5 and wants to take on the world. And we, as to Kevin's point before, we wake up in the morning, we have no idea what that day will bring. Certainly 9/11 taught us that you have no idea what's going to be happening. And now with the pandemic on all kinds of levels, things are shifting, changing. And the practice within it can be to practice either reacting and being annoyed and being angry, or practice being aware of what's happening, wide-eyed, and accepting, yes, this is my situation right now. This is where I am right now. And there are other people, places, and things involved. And how can I be at my best to influence the balance of these things as best I possibly can, knowing that I cannot, and nor should I, try to have everything just be to my liking. That is what ego is about. Ego is about, it's me, I'm in control, it's about me. When we go to that deeper place of your heart, your soul, your true self, deep self, higher self, that deeper, richer, more expansive place that goes both down and up. The overview, you see it and realize, wow, this is a situation in which some people are suffering, whether moderately or mildly or catastrophically. So how can I be of good influence here? How can I accept? And acceptance doesn't mean, damn it, why is it this way? Acceptance means, okay, this is what is. And, I've worked with people who it's amazing to me that they were able to find their way, because initially I thought, whoa, this is a big one. With the changes that have just happened in this person's life, to them and their whole family, this is going to be a tough one. And yet somehow when they go to acceptance of, okay, this is now my lot, this is now my situation, now let me get back into it. Let me get back into my life with this hampered body or finances or family system. Let me go back into it and move it from being hampered to being, this is where I am now. And now how can I make this be better? What can I contribute here? And that's the gift of acceptance.
And on an even, I'd say, for me, it's a deeper level for acceptance. I go back to, how we can prepare ourselves to be able to respond in that way. And sometimes that involves a little bit of internal work, because we can, there are many layers to us, like as you mentioned, that beautiful heart, who's, always in some way, I think that every single person that's trying to get what they want is ultimately looking for love and connection, but easier said than done. So where is that layer of annoyance that may be coming not from, from the outside, but from the inside? Mm-hmm. And, I was thinking about that again, and I know that I'm going back to grocery store stuff because I've just come from the grocery store, but I was just, imagining, what it would feel like to sit in line and then have, this place of expectation and not being so caught up in my frustration, so caught up in my anger that I really can't see the people around me. I can't. They say, oh yeah, that sounds nice, I'd like to. But when I get out there and get into it, it's really, really hard for me to just think, okay, I want to be altruistic. I really, really want to put other people first. I want to be a good influence. So annoyance sometimes I think is, an outward projection of the frustration we feel inside. A prime example for me was years and years ago when I, had a job 9 to 5, and I would be up, with the birdies and on my way with this huge fleet of traffic moving down the highway. And I remember how tough it was, in traffic in those moments. And I think about how when I was in those moments, if I got an early start and I felt like I have this extra 15, 20 minute window or this 30-minute window, whatever it is, but if I'm cutting it a little, I'm able to be more patient. But if I'm cutting it a little bit close, or maybe even running a little bit late, it would have been very, very easy for me to get frustrated with the people in front of me. Yes. Because it was hard for me to accept that I was the one that made the choice to either hit the snooze one more time or, handle that text. Maybe I should have, whatever it was that got me out the door later, that it was my responsibility. And so for me to feel that annoyance at people on the outside is really something that maybe I need to look at for myself. To say it was actually me who made me late. It wasn't all of these people in this traffic. It's a funny thing we say about, if it weren't for all this traffic, I'd get to work. But guess what? I am one of the cars in the traffic. There's somebody behind me that also, is waiting for their turn and their time to go.
We are stuck in traffic.
Yeah, we are stuck in traffic. It's not just I am stuck in traffic and all of this traffic. Well, this traffic is us, and the world is us. And so now, with where do we begin there?
Where do we begin? We begin right where we are. It's like an MC Escher drawing, the MC Escher drawing with the hand drawing the hand, or the endless chain of people just beginning where they end. James Taylor has a song about being stuck in traffic. And he says, I'm about to have a heart attack, looking in the rearview mirror, looking at the guy who's about to have a heart attack, looking in the rearview mirror, looking in the guy. And it goes all the way back and all the way forward. So, anything we can do to give ourselves a break, whether that is, take a half an hour to just have a dialogue with people we feel safe with. One of the things I've done with my clients at the center is just like, if you can, for 5 seconds, just imagine what you would feel like without this feeling. if we talk about lighting, it's opening up the narrow view to just a little bit wider.
And it's interesting because in stress, we go into a narrow view.
Yeah.
And when we relax, we go into a more open view. If you meditate or have any type of expansive practice, which could be anything from meditative to singing, dancing, to walking in the woods, to building something creative, whatever brings you to that place of timelessness, if you will. You're not all hung up in the future. You're not all hung up in the past. You're present. And when we're present, we are able to then respond, hopefully, to what's ever going on, unless we're so programmed with reactivity that the stimulus is always in charge. Traffic, and whatever is going on. As opposed to, okay, here I am now, as if I just was born into this moment. Here I am. And what are the people, places, things involved? And what's the state of this body and this mind and these emotions? That I could be aware of my emotions rather than I become the emotion. And I can be aware of the fatigue rather than becoming the fatigue. Mm-hmm. And I can be aware of the confusion or the conflicting thoughts. And I could have that healthy distance enough to say, oh, look what's going on here. So how can I influence my mind, my body, my emotions to be more in balance, more in the center, so that I can have more and better energy to bring to the people, places, things around me. And Laurie said before the word love, that's a beautiful, wonderful, expansive word, perhaps none more expansive than love, or perhaps God. That to come to that God-centered place that is not self-centered, but it's life-centered. You're life-centered. And here I am in the center of my life, which at the moment may expand. Well, I'll use myself as an example. Right now, the reality of my moment, my present moment, is speaking to you, whoever is there. And that is the reality. And I'm also aware that my body's a little hungry. So I'm a little thinking, well, soon I'll have something to eat, and so on and so forth. But being in the center of your body, mind, emotions, and people, places, things around you enables you to say, okay, in this situation, in this circumstance, within my sphere of influence, how far out or narrow in it might be, here's what I could do to help make things a little bit better. And clients I work with presently who are really in the front lines, literally they're doing the same thing in much dire situations. What can I do? I'm exhausted. There's needs here. There's lack of organization. There's lack of supplies and equipment. All right, given what we have, how can I do my best with what's most important? It's practice. Or we could practice bitching and moaning all the time and looking for what's not going right and carrying on and being reactive and then contributing more chaos, more negative energy, more stress to whatever situation is going on.
Yeah. And so speaking of practice, why don't we just take a minute or two and let's practice that shifting. We can always, shift ourselves in any given moment. This is now the time. I can't tell you to do it. Well, you can if you want to do it after, but let's do this now.
And the longer you wait, the harder it gets. Like if you're in the middle of traffic and annoyed and you're late and you're carrying on, you've got a longer distance to travel to get to center.
To get center.
Right.
Yes, that's a very good point. So right now, if everyone would like to just take a few moments and plant your feet on the floor, close your eyes if you like, or find a nice place for your eyes to settle, whatever you feel most comfortable with. And even now, things are going on all around us that maybe we weren't even paying attention to just a minute ago. But just focus on your breath now for just a moment. Even noticing now how you're feeling, just sitting with your eyes closed. Seeing if there's any difference at all even between your kind of attention that was being paid when you were watching us just a moment ago and hearing our stories. putting yourself in those places. But now coming back into your own space of reality, wherever you're sitting, watching right now. If you're sitting, feeling your body sitting, feeling the backside on whatever surface you're resting, feeling your feet on the floor. Just feeling your breath moving in and out. Maybe even taking note of, if you can, of what kind of energy you have right now. Where are you right now? Are you feeling excited? A little agitated? Maybe your day was a hot, challenging one. Maybe your day was in the air conditioning and perhaps a little easier, perhaps not. Just take notice of where you are. No matter what it is, see if you can just let that lift. Just lift away a little bit. Even if you can recall a moment you yourself felt a little annoyance, either today or recently. And just notice how your body responds as you think about that moment. Does it change? Just noticing. Nothing being right or wrong here, just noticing. As Kevin suggested, just see what happens. What would you feel like if you could just let that feeling go? And let your body do that right now. If you're finding it difficult, just let go of the feeling of being frustrated that it feels difficult. Just let go of that. That also can qualify as annoying. And just take a nice, long, deep breath in. And when you're ready, just let it all go. Let it go in that long, nice breath out. And whenever you are ready, you feel yourself again back in the room. Back in front of the screen with all of us here tonight, or wherever you are, whatever time you are. Just watch yourself coming back in. And just noticing if you feel any different. Again, before we started. And if you'd like to see the rest of our presentation, then open your eyes. If not, pause and keep going when you can.
That was really wonderful. I loved the image of, well, the thing that kept just showing in my own mind was the letting go, the letting go, the letting go. It reminded me of the primitive monkey trap. That would be a box with a hole, put a banana in it, and when the monkey would put his hand in and grab the banana, he would not let go of the banana, so he was stuck in the trap. We always talk about holding things loosely. We have to hold them, but to hold them loosely, even to be holding our plans for the day, even to be holding what we anticipate will be going on in the next room when you walk in, or what will be happening within having your meals prepared, making the piece of toast and you turn around and you burn the toast and it's the last piece of bread kind of thing. Being able to hold everything loosely enough to be able to just move on, to move on. But it all begins with being more centered first. If you're at the end of your rope, the toast get burned and you take the toaster and you throw it out the window. If you're really centered, the toast gets burned. And you say, well, okay, let me tend to the smoke and let me throw away the toast and make sure the toast is okay. And you integrate it into your day. Easier said than done. We cannot do it 24/7, but we certainly can do it more and more because we are always practicing. We are practicing being more whole, more centered, more calm, more empowered. With the calm center, relaxed beneath the efforts of what you're doing. Sounds like a paradox, but it's how it goes. That, great athletes, great performers, they make it look so easy. But underneath it, there is a strong held center of awareness and presentness that enables them to move into that form. And for the rest of us, it's the same thing. Who do I bring to the world? Do I bring my stressed self ready to fight or flee? Or do I bring my more centered self, able to serve and to love and to have access to my creativity and my strength and my courage and my wisdom and my patience and my joy and my humor? Or am I all locked up? And we all bob up and down. And to be aware enough that you're getting annoyed. If I start to get annoyed, that's a signal to me I'm getting off center here. I need to sort of bring myself back. My annoyance is not going to help the situation. Not that it doesn't happen. I will get annoyed and I'll have to catch it and I'll think, I need to pull it back here. So we all do our best, hopefully, and continually. So as we come to the end of our evening, Kevin and Lori, is there any last things you'd like to say to round this up?
I would say everything. Everything is a cycle, The sun, the moon, getting up in the morning, going to sleep, arriving, departing, getting annoyed, getting relaxed, getting angry, feeling calm. And one of the questions, because you said, who am I bringing to the world? Mm-hmm. If I turn that around and back at myself, then what is my long view? Are my actions in this case, are they going to make me a larger person, able to do better in the world, or are they going to diminish me? And again, it's not in the answer. We don't profess to have any answers here. What we really do is follow the questions. And the questions are what give us that little break to simply widen the beam and think, I didn't think about that over there.
Right.
Oh, maybe I'll turn over here now. Oh, look, this is better.
Right. And that's how we find our balance point. That's how we find our center. Thank you. And thank you again for your double duty tonight. I'm sure it was easy.
I'm going to do it again now.
Yeah. And I'd like to add too that the biggest part, from annoyance to acceptance is not just, it is accepting what is right in front of us, but it's also accepting that there's a part of us that's struggling right now. There's a part of us that may feel tired. There's a part of us that needs some attention. And part of that acceptance in my definition is compassion, is kindness, not only for the other people, but we cannot even begin to give it to someone else unless we become more adept at giving it to ourselves.
Exactly.
And so, for the people that were even experiencing that meditation and perhaps not feeling as easily able to let go, just sit with that for a while and just accept there are times I can't do it either. Exactly. And I have and it's a wonderful practice just to sit with what's there. It's just, as Sal's mentioned his granddaughter, that sometimes even you, or just because you're an adult doesn't mean there isn't a little kid inside of you that doesn't need some attention, doesn't need some love and some nurturing in some way. So let's cut ourselves a break and know that, again, we've got a lot of moving parts, even more than we've ever had before. Let's be even more careful and more kind to ourselves and more patient. And there are all sorts of practices available. There's so many different ways that you can do this. And of course, if you want to know more about us, please remember that during this time, for the foreseeable future, all the coaches are offering free sessions, free single session to anybody who's looking. If you just want to check in, you don't have to have a serious issue. If you just need to talk something through, if you just feel lonely, if there's something that you need, just feel free to reach out at our website. And you can go right down to the coach bios, and our emails, our individual emails are listed there. So please feel free just to send a message. And we will get back to you and we'll schedule a time. But that was something I wanted to be sure that, everyone knows that taking care of yourself and moving into this place, you can't, I know I haven't been able to do it myself. It was through my work and having other people around me, wonderful teachers like Dr. Benanti, having my time with Kevin, with all of the coaches has really helped me to move more and more and more. Again, not perfectly, but more and more and more to my center. Mm-hmm. And in spite of everything that's going on in my life and in the larger world, I'm finding it easier to move through.
And may that continue for the rest of your life.
Yeah, it's going to be a lifelong practice.
We never hit the point where it's like, okay, we're done.
Right.
We do, but not in terms of being centered.
Yes.
But, there's no floor. It becomes a deeper and richer way of experiencing and living life. Mm-hmm. The other thing that I wanted to just touch on was the idea that, the only right way for you is the right way for you. Mm-hmm. There is no one right way that's blanket for everyone. Although, if we're all interested in living more from the very deepest, authentic potential that we have to bring into the world, well, we need to sort of drop down into that part of us that has always been there from the time we were born, even before. The part of us that will be with us right through to the very end of our lives, with all the shifts and changes that have happened in our bodies, minds, emotions, and the people, places, things around you. Everything is shifting, moving, changing. And what we attempt to do, and we need to have order and balance, so we put the order and balance, but we become sometimes so rigidly trying to hold that in position that we do no good to ourselves or anyone. Everything must be held loosely, especially now. And accepting, I'm tired. I'm even tired of, certain things that I can't just run to the hardware store. But being able, as that arises, that annoyance, to be able to take the breath and accept it and keep all those annoyances at a low enough level that it doesn't disturb your balance or anyone else's. So thank you all for being with us tonight. Lori and Kevin, thank you as always. And hopefully we'll see you next week. And if you have friends or relatives that you think could benefit from anything that we're providing, please let them know and take good care of yourselves and be well. And we'll see you soon.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Bye-bye.